Hi everyone, this is Tracy. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to show you how to fake Waffle Flower's Butterfly Focal Die and Stencil combo from their latest release. I have a limited crafting budget, and faking it allows me to use what I already have to get a similar look. First, I'm going to prepare my card. I have a 5¼ inch square card panel scored and folded, plus another panel slightly smaller, about 5 inches square. I'm using a square die to cut a window in the center to create a frame for the butterfly I'm going to make. I'll take those pieces and set them aside for now. Here's the largest butterfly die I have. It measures just over 3 inches across. I'll use a piece of orange cardstock and cut my butterfly out of that. Next, I'll grab my Copic markers. I want to mimic a monarch butterfly, so I'm going to use the darkest marker I have, which is N10. First, I'll color in the body of the butterfly in the center. Then I'm going to draw a border around the entire shape, trying to keep it to the same thickness the entire way around. Then I'll draw a dividing line to separate each wing into 2 more distinct pieces so that I really end up with 4 wings. I recommend having some photos of real butterflies up on your phone or computer screen so that you can look at them for inspiration. I'm going to use my marker to mimic the veins and details on the wings, keeping in mind that butterflies are symmetrical, so what you draw on one side, you should draw on the other. You don't have to worry about getting them exact, you can just eyeball it. I widen the border along the bottom of the wings on the left and right sides. Then I grab my Copic multi-liner pen to draw in smaller veining. Again, everything I draw on one side I try to copy to the other side. It doesn't have to be exact because once it's all filled in, no one will be able to tell it wasn't perfect. And if you don't have a Copic multi-liner, you can use any other pen, as long as it's a close match to the marker that you used. Lastly, I'm going to grab my white Jelly Roll pen, and I'm going to add highlights to the top sections on each side of the wings, and little dots along the butterfly edges all the way around the butterfly. And here you can see we've ended up with a really beautiful looking monarch butterfly. It looks so realistic already. I just love how this turned out. Okay, so let's finish our card. I'm going to use some foam squares to mount the frame piece from earlier. I don't cover the entire back with foam squares. I just think that's so silly and wasteful. I add enough to give it structure. I put larger foam pieces in each corner and smaller ones in between. I like to save my money and my supplies, and then everything lasts a little longer. I center the frame on the card front and then I press down. Since I want my butterfly wings to be lifted up off the card front, I'm only going to add foam to the very center where the body is. Now you could use glue or even glue dots if you want it to be more secure if you're going to mail it, but I'm going to hand deliver this card, so I'm not really worried about it falling off in the mail. I center the butterfly in the frame opening and then I will press it down. And then I'm just going to floof the wings up a bit. Make them stand up just slightly. Isn't it beautiful? It really reminds me of a butterfly in a shadow box. Okay, so all that's left is to add a sentiment to the front of the card. I'm going to use my stamping platform to stamp Happy Mother's Day on a scrap of black cardstock. This sentiment is from an old Winnie and Walter set I have, and I really use it all the time. I'll use some anti-static powder and then stamp it in Versamark ink. You can use any embossing ink you have, any embossing powder. I'm going to use white detailed and then use my heat gun to set it. And I really use cardstock scraps for sentiments all the time because I find I have little bits left over from crafting that would probably otherwise get thrown out. So I save them and I use them. Cut it down a little bit and I used a punch to make the notches on each side, added some foam squares to the back, and centered it on my card front. And in the process, I noticed a few little bits of white embossing powder here and there. So I'm going in with my Copic multi-liner to get rid of them. I just dot over them a little bit. I find they disappear better than if I were to draw lines. And then you can't even tell they were there. And here is the finished card. I think it turned out great, it's beautiful, and I saved money in the process. I hope you enjoyed my video today, and if you did, click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Happy crafting! Don't be afraid to use your stash.